The film shows, for the first time, me being skinless. There are things that you've heard that you've never heard about me before, many of you. This film, although introduces the book, My Authentic Self, but it's really a prelude to my memoir, which I have been writing since 1990, right? I have thousands of words that I have been able to purge myself and put down on paper and allow myself to go through the pain, face the struggle, right? And let it go. Only to know that it's like going into a room, right? When you open the door, it's a dark room, right? So you go in this room and you know it's dark when you close the door behind you. But the thing that I had in writing about my life and being able to be transparent about my life was that I knew that there was another door at the end of the room. And when I opened that door at the end of the room, I knew there was going to be light. So it gave me permission to say, okay, leave everything in this room and go to the light, because there's another journey that you must take. And this journey is supposed to shine your light, so hopefully the other people's light can benefit from it. So in the book, you will journey. You know, the purpose of writing this book, I couldn't get the memoir out as fast as I wanted to, but I wanted to at least put some of this in the book, right? So that the spirit of the book is that people will learn how art, culture, and me embracing everything that is authentic about me helped me burn out old emotions from my childhood and help me find my passion and now my life purpose. So you can add to artist, author. Right?
Fun, yes.
And what counts. Mostly all of you know my work. As you can see, this is just a minuscule, because as the days go by, more work will be produced. And you know that I've always done work with the signature style of the faceless people without eyes or nose, only mouths. And I do that, I've done that because I want you, the viewer, to put your own faces there and faces of people you know. The long necks and my characters serve as to give the character pride. And as you identify, you'll sense the pride in your own world and your own life. As you can see, the works are presented in nostalgic themes, right? And hopefully remind, like me, you, a time that rendered us whole, right? And then you see these universal themes, because of the universal themes like education, music, jazz, or spirituality, and various aspects of things that we often find ourselves in. There's a thread that connects us all. So I want to send the message that we're interconnected in my work. And of course, I've used a variety of mediums over the years to make sure that you can experience the environment. One such, and I use like acrylics. I've been using acrylics and pastels and jewelry and many found objects on canvas and on wood. But in 2008, I started including historical African-American newspaper articles that timeline and time capsules our journey from Africa through the Reconstruction era, through Jim Crow, the Civil Rights, and even some more current work. On the other hand, the newspaper represents the Gullah people cultural belief, spiritual belief, that by papering the wall with newspaper, they would prevent the house and evil spirits from hurting and harming each other. You see, I believe in the ancestors as a way to also guide us. I know that by studying my history, ancestors are guardian angels. We all know guardian angels somewhere. We got grandma, great-grandmama. Somebody has passed on some mantra or something to you. Well, I found that in these newspaper articles, they not only talk about our struggle, but they talk about our fight, our journey, our contribution, and they also talk about, they also give antidotes you know, and how each period is responsible for dealing with for contributing to the growth of our salvation. That's what I love about the newspaper article. And then on some of the other themes, like the music themes, you see classic vintage jazz posters, you see. And then in my most recent work, like Standout, you'll see inspirational message that serves as a vision board and quotes. And of course, you see photographs of activists of all genres, indicating to us that each one of us are activists in our way, maybe a neighborly way, maybe, you know, we don't have to be so known, right? But we could just love a child in the right way as an activist, just trying to guide them in the way that we contribute to the salvation of our people, and then show the world our humanity, right? Because I think that like nature's always fighting to correct itself, to put itself in the balance of life. And I think the balance of humanity is suffering because our humanity, our unity as a whole and our humanity is still yet to be one, right? And that will help, I think, make a big difference in the way the rest of the world guides, operate, and interact with each other as well as with us. Those are some of the concepts of the work, and everything in the background is cohesive to the concept. You see, I do a lot of research. Nothing is done haphazardly. It's a fusion of art and history. I'm giving you aesthetics, but at the same time, I'm giving you information that you may already know, and may not know, but it surely will strike a conversation when these pieces are had. I'm a very prolific artist. I've been painting for 31 years. Cut my teeth right here in New York City. And many of you have been supporting me all these years, in my heart and love to say thank you. And you're still here. And many more are still here. And I'm just happy to show the evolution from that earlier period up until now. So in this book, there's a poem that I wrote called The Blessings of My Hand. And I'd like to try and say it in front of you for the first time. You ready?
Mm-hmm. Go for it.
No? Ready?
Wait a minute.
Okay. Okay, this is the first time this poem has ever been publicly shared. I was born with the blessings of birth-defected hands. The process of hands. Hands that reached out and touched the sensitivities of other hands. Hands that took time for me to accept the inward and not the outward hands. And once I accepted my hand, I couldn't be taught by any other hand. You see, the senses of my hands were heightened, so I submit to the forces of God's hands. And the children of God, this is where I mess up my own poem, but when the children of God, you're reading it, finish the last part.
And when the children of God would have known, I came this way.
My hands are forever. Ta-da! I got most of it done, right? I mean, it's my own poem, but hell, I have a senior moment too.
No, that's right. And you can rewrite it.
And I can rewrite it, and you know, it keeps evolving,
right,
because it keeps informing me every moment that there's something else. The poem can keep adding because I'm evolving and I'm adding. You see what I'm saying? So at this point, I'm going to start running my mouth and just open the floor if you have any thoughts, contributions, questions. You know, my question would be, what does it mean to you to be your authentic self? What does that actually mean when you pause and take a moment of introspection? What do you think that means for your own self? Think about that as you either ask your question or ask me. Well, you asked me the question, but I may throw it back at you. So let's engage, if you will. Anyone? Let's start. And be transparent. We're all family here. Now. There's not going to be any judgments. Just Shimoda, one of my colleagues, artist, who's a jewelry maker, artist, and she bought one of my earlier works, so I'm trying to get back, but you know, I'm going to have to steal it. She bought it for $2 too. Go ahead. $3. Okay, Shimoda.
Okay. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
for a long, long time when you were selling out in Brooklyn.
Yes.
And I'm full.
Wow.
Just to hear, you know, your story, and I'm so proud that you have a book and you're working on your autobiography. And I'm inspired because I always say that I'm going to do my book.
Right. Good.
So my authentic self is, you know, I'm an artist too.
Yes.
And so when I'm doing my art, that is like what I was born to do.
Right.
So that is my authentic self.
Wow. Anyone else? And I'd like to hand the floor over to my sister, my friend, who I always thought lived here, right? And she's been living in the Gullah, Geechee Island, coming to New York, being a part of moving or helping to move our needle forward. This sister is amazing to me. She speaks the Gullah dialect fluently. Once upon a time, it was considered bad English. She's also well educated. Don't sleep on her. She's very sharp. But she's committed by the culture, by the ancestors, by the spirit of keeping the Gullah culture alive. So I just want to just say thank you, because I'm going to probably work with her somewhere down the line. Queen Quet, ladies and gentlemen, give her a round of applause. Question?
Good evening.
Good evening, sister.
I want to say a question. I want to say we can turn back to Hunter. So I can turn back to
She's speaking that Gullah dialect, y'all.
So Hunter said, you're the true you question, not answer the question.
Right.
So
True.
authentic self to who we Hunter to get enough.
Absolutely.
We be Gullah Geechee anointed peace.
That's
So
true.
that's the answer for that.
True. I understand. I'll interpret later on, but y'all keep on
No.
doing that. Yeah, go ahead.
Now, for the question and thing like that,
Right.
I hear you in the film say
Mm.
neck bone and black eyed peas. I hear you, you describe everything,
True.
but I hear you correct your teeth and say so. How come on every correct your teeth and say so? Because for all the rest of all them children were there in your can standing tall.
Right.
When I first went to his studio
Right.
on South Oxford,
Right.
he had no idea I had an apartment around the corner from him. I had seen him numerous times at what is now the International African Art Festival, was then the African Street Festival.
Right.
And we communicated, never no problem. I held the Gullah Geechee reunion up here each year.
That's right.
This sister stood up one evening and I said, well, anybody else in here from the Gullah Geechee Nation? And she threw up her hand. She said, not me, but someone you know. Who is that? Leroy Campbell. Leroy Campbell, I know that name.
That's my friend and
He's an
ex-wife, Ruth,
Right.
and her daughter, my daughter, Isis.
See, I wasn't gonna
Raise
put
your
all
hand,
the
baby.
business. See, I wasn't gonna put all the business in street.
Look like your mom, and everything.
So what? So now she says, well, here's the address. I look at the address. I said, this is around the corner. She said, well, you gotta come to the house. So I go there, ring the bell. He opens the door and said, oh my God. Oh my God. Sister, I'm so glad I always been nice to you. Right, because I would tell her mom and them how you act up here. Right? But he immediately said to me, especially since you are a neck bone. Now I'm a vegetarian. So I'm like, what does this man mean by calling me a neck bone? As the chairman would say, I felt some kind of way. So he then said, hold on. He saw that Gullah Geechee look on my face. He said, hold on. Come on in the house first. Put your stuff down. Now let me take you downstairs. And then he started showing me images like this.
Yes.
But with folks with suits on. Like I saw back there with the granddaddy.
That's right.
With suits on.
The first piece that launched my career, that's right.
Yes, and then he said, this is you.
Mm.
You are neck bone. I said, well, I can't be black eyed peas doing like black eyed peas. He said, why can't you kind of black eyed peas? So that's why I'm asking him. How come in the film, I didn't hear you specifically talk about that terminology you were using at that time for your artwork?
Great question. This was a major undertaking that we have, that we are in right now, Patrice and I. We have, first of all, as you can see, my friends, other artists' works we had to deal with, prepare that. I have presently right now a show going on at Leroy College, somewhere in whatever, Rockville, New York. That's about 7 pieces, huh? Rockville. The film. and trying to prepare such an undertaking, Patrice finally made the film happen. She forced it, because I was like, I don't feel like doing that. Don't forget the film. We don't need the film. She forced it. She actually forced it. One of the artists who actually did the film was this artist named Maurice Evan. He's such a multifaceted artist. So when we got in the film, at the first part of the film, it's just like, I was exhausted, and I was like, I just want to just throw something out there. But we kept going, and as much as I had left, it's all I was able to put in this, right? We never got to the Black Eyed Peas, because the Black Eyed Peas is also an ongoing series that I did many, many years ago. And the Black Eyed Peas represent the salt of the earth, the backbone breaking, the people in the cotton fields, the people who, feet touch red clay roads in the summer, and, who well water and pigsty, and the people who live off the land, close to their African tradition and ways. That's my backyard. That's my mother's roots. People who probably didn't even know they were doing African things to survive and make it through.
Exactly.
You see, and so when I started calling these pieces neck bones and Black Eyed Peas, they also represent how every time we get together, we always incorporate our food. Our food is also empowering to our soul. Our food gathering lets us relax and empower each other through conversation, just by being in the right spirit. Because I got to tell you something. I got to tease my daughter over here, Isis. Like, when she was younger, right, she would be so cantankerous, man, and just moody. And give her some food, and she was like, she was like, oh my God. So food transformed your whole being. And so the food is a major part of us as a people.
Yes.
And of course, some of our great rice cultivators came out of Sierra Leone. They were the ones who were placed on the sea island on the plantation to use rice. Now, all this stuff, once upon a time, had a negative. But I turned it into a positive because I saw the power in it. And it became something that I wanted to show, that I found something beautiful in being Southern and rooted. And I wanted not only the stories about us to be told, but I wanted to incorporate our food, because that's also part of the groundedness of who we are. We live off the land. Organic food, that is. You know what I'm saying? Real, untouched food that was nourishing and gave us whole, strong body and clear, strong minds. You see what I'm saying? Not just workers, but we were brains and bronze with our food. We ate every kind of meal. Yams and peas and beans and nuts. Those things we grew, and they were untapped. So that's one of the misfortunate parts about not having connection to the land anymore as African people of African descent, is that we don't grow our food like we used to, which made some of us, I never heard most people smoking cigarettes all their life and died at 90 years old. You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying that's a good thing, but people live long because they had the proper nutrients. So we get into sustainability, which is another conversation, but at the same time, the conscientiousness of food and our diet also is important to how you become whole. We talk about culture, we talk about information, but our food is very, very significant, because if you're a sick person, I don't care which aspiration you have, you can't effectively reach into your deepest potential and pull it together. So you have to be a whole person. And we were very active around cultivation, around even going to the store to get the food. You know what I'm saying? Go in the field to get the food. Yeah, the field. It's funny because some people like to hear, Mom, you say, why you cook collard greens so long? I cook my collard greens all day, right? Because collard greens, many of you may not know this, it needs to be cooked until it's digestible. It's a very heavy, hard leaf. It's very difficult to digest. So that's why, and some people, like the Nation of Islam, China tells us not to eat it, because most of us don't digest it properly, you see. And then we put things like oils and butter and so many other things that really coagulates our arteries. We're eating good, it tastes good, but we're really hurting and harming ourselves. So when I talk about my whole culture, I also want to bring in our you know, the other part that fortifies is our nutrition. So it was a way to me to symbolically give attention and pride to the work by creating and show how hard that time was to have to work hand to mouth to eat, you see. But at the same time, they were fortifying us. So that's why the series was there. And I will, in the memoir, go real in on that. So I appreciate you throwing that out. Thank you so much. Yes, sister.
I was looking at the limbs, and I realized that you made them very pronounced.
Yeah.
For me, it's like a metaphor of power. Is it relatable to the fact that you have power in your hands?
Wow.
And, you know, we as a people have the power of walking out when we don't like something, of using our hands in the voting booth. You know,
That's a powerful question.
Is it symbolic to you?
You know, before I started really doing the silhouetted figures, I was just coming into knowledge of Afrocentricity and what it means to be black. And the more I became nourished, by the time I got into my own voice, which is my Southern roots and my Gullah roots, as well as the African, I was determined to be deliberately black. Unapologetically black. You see? Because I knew that in my own blackness, there was nothing, there was lies. There's no one outside of that could define that but my ancestors, my history, and all who I'm connected to. We are defining that. So I've always been deliberate about, and the characterization of the work is being bold, like the long necks, like the elongated fingers, you know, the strong feet. Those are deliberate, defiant acts and deliberate determination to say, being black and being you is a beautiful thing to be in. And if I die and have to come back, I want to come back just like this. So I am, you know, I'm not against anyone, but what I found in being that way is that I'm embraced even more so by the universal community. Yes. It's amazing what's happening to me right now. I'm now an ambassador, right? Think about that. Me, just barely got out of high school, an ambassador, right? Twice a year, I do a workshop for the University of Connecticut called Gullah Voices.
Once every 2 years.
What?
Once every 2 years.
Thank you. Once every 2 years, called Gullah Voices. Now, this happens in Savannah, another port for the transatlantic slave trade of most African Americans in this country, right? So we go to Savannah, and 80% of the people who attend this workshop are all white teachers. I'm not kidding you. A lot of books that are written about Gullah, Geechee people are many by whites. Many of the scholars who have workshops there are done by whites, right? I'm probably one of the only black who offers the visual telling my story of Gullah culture. 2 years in a row, both times, my workshop has been #1. And let me tell you why. Because I'm not coming there as a scholar. I'm giving you my story and my life transformation story in relation to my art, and I'm incorporating my spiritual. I remember one young lady said, I'm here with all these different teachers. Black, 10% is black. She said, I'm here with all these teachers, and I'm going to all these workshops, and I just don't know why I'm here. But until I came to your workshop, I understand what my purpose is. Because the way I'm speaking to you guys, I'm giving you my spirit and soul so you can feel it, and they're feeling it too. So I know that being interested in your culture is very most important. There are more white people who want black people to be black than black people want to be black.
Right. Ooh, say it again.
It's true.
Say it
That's
again.
Not a lie. I've spoken at Hampton University, Gullah culture. I've spoken at Morehouse College, Gullah culture. Years ago, I was invited, me and the Gullah collection, right, to Turkey. I did 3 shows, Ankara, Izmir, and Konyas, right, in Turkey. My interpreter and the people, they began to say, wow, this is some of the best real work. This is beautiful work. And I was able to talk a little bit about my culture. And, you know, when it was all said and done, you know, I was with an international jazz band through the United States Embassy. And when it was all said and done, there was a thread of love that ran through all of us. And at the end of it, the last night we had a chance to break bread for one more time and get drunk off that Reiki, right? And have a good time after each show, right? One of the Turkish people said, don't you change. Remain who you are. Well, they made good on that. Coming up in March, they've invited me back. This time, just me.
Wow.
They're paying me $5,000 to do a workshop for underprivileged women and children in Turkey, coming up in March. And that's me being my authentic self. Because being your authentic self, I don't mean be belligerent, right? I mean just accept everything that's about you. That means your education. Don't get education. We believe in the excellence of higher learning. You know, Sister Queen Quet can tell you about the Penn Center that was first opened in where, Beaufort?
It's on St. Helena Island. It was founded in 1862.
Yes, the first black school after the Reconstruction era.
During the Civil War.
Wow.
It was the first school ever opened for people then of African descent, later to be called freedmen during
You
Reconstruction.
see? So that's authentic to who we are as well. You see? So when I say embrace your authenticity, I'm not talking about fighting against each other's religious beliefs.
Right.
I'm talking about the thing that orientates your melanin. The history that connects your type of sway and swagger. You know what I'm saying? The way you joke. The thing that you won't say in mixed companies that your friends and you can, that spirit. Even, check us out, even when you hear a brother and a sister in the ghetto name their baby Aisha, Manisha, Mamuta, or whatever, right? Guess what that might be? That might not be ghetto. That might be that ancient African spirit that is traveling down the DNA line of all of you. They just don't know. They just don't have any context. They just don't have any reference. So while we ghettoifying things, we may be insulting the very ancestor that's still speaking. Because you know, if negative energy and negative dysfunction can carry on from generation to generation, then why can't ancestral messages and our people carry over? How do you think the Gullah people were able to hold on during the summer months and survive, right?
Right.
Based on fragmented memory of our history and culture.
Call it blood consciousness.
Oh, for real. And I'm saying it can be tapped into, right? It can be cultivated, but I think there's so many resources to doing that. Study all aspects of your history, connect that with spirituality or empowering message about yourself. Look in the Bible. Look in the Quran. Look in all these books, because in it, you know, there's a similarity of us plugging into that power source where we all get it from. I'm not here to talk about anybody's choice. I'm just saying that there's something that's unique to us that should make us less fragmented, right? And more connected, even while we move through life individually, right? While we find our own path, right? And while we find our own purpose and place in life, but still we can give each other, you know, this generational push. We might not see the complete salvation, but at least we can go to bed each night, and at our deathbed we can say we're contributing to the future of our salvation as a people. And the rest of the world will be better off for it.
Yes.
Trust me, the rest of the world needs us to be whole.
Yes.
They need us to see us loving each other, working for each other, being deliberate about helping each other be better. The world wants that. Because look what we've done for the world. R&B, rap, everything that the world looks at in terms of art and culture, guess who they turn to? What are black people doing now? And by the time we realize they're looking at it, we done let it go, and they done
capitalize it.
And now guess what? It's camouflaged back to us. Our own stuff. That's also, and things that are happening right now, technology and all the different things we see. There's a lot of things that's ours that's camouflaged back to us. We think it's theirs.
Tell it.
Right.
You gotta understand the power of this thing, man, that I'm standing on. It's a very powerful place. Of course, I want to be included in the museums, and I would like to have that, you know, but God didn't give me this path, you see, and I'm thankful to have a modest living, but I'm more happy when I touch the lives of others. And that's the purpose of me just starting this book, you see. At the same time, you know, in some way, you know, it will validate me as a writer, you know, as a person who's serious about, committed about this art. So I don't want to run my mouth too long. Any more questions before we go? And I would like to ask you, before you ask your question, tell me what it means to be your authentic self, real brief.
This is what I was going to say.
Oh, wonderful.
This is my authentic self. My name is Wanda Ford Chambers. This is, and I'm from Cerro Gordo, North Carolina.
Wow.
Drive through it fast
Awesome.
and live on the other side of the track. This road is named after my great-grandfather,
Wow.
Charles Ford. It's still not paved. There's only 2 houses on that road, but that's where we came from. That is my authentic self.
Awesome.
Oh, outhouses,
Yes.
smokehouses,
Mm-hmm.
tobacco barns.
Yes.
We have engineers, neurosurgeons.
Wow.
They came from that small little town.
Now I'm going to conclude. I love you. I thank you so much. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Please, y'all.
Thank you.
Me hand.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.